Hello and welcome to the podcast. We are on episode 23. So it's Friday, the 5th of May. Tomorrow is the 6th of May, which means we have a full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, which is all about change and transformation. It's what Scorpio really brings to us. And we have a full moon, which illuminates what that sign is bringing to the table. And then we have the eclipse. So think about this being 10 times greater, 10 times powerful, 10 times more intense. So we're going to dive into navigating change. How can we navigate through change? Because this could be a big thing. Navigating change is huge. And this tends to be a little bit of a running joke in a really nice sort of bantery way with clients, with, comfort zone is where we want to be, leaving the comfort zone doesn't sound like fun. And it really depends on, do you know your needs? Do you know what you need in order to feel safe during a time of change and transformation? So we're going to dive into that in this week's episode. So as always, do make sure you've got some water nearby so you can stay hydrated. Hopefully you have your journal and a pen, as I will be giving a journal prompt at the end of this episode, as I always do. And hopefully you also are in a place where you're getting some lovely natural light on you. And I really like to highlight that because it really does help with improving your sleep, improving your mood, and just generally feeling better. I am that person that if I go into a room and there is no need to have lights on, especially like fluorescent lights, I will turn them off. There's a room that I used to use in one of my corporate yoga classes, and it was a really wonderful room in the sense that it had south-facing windows. There was absolutely no need to have lights on. You'd go in and it was really bright, and I would unlock the door, go on in, start unrolling the mats, and there would always be someone that would come in and turn the lights on. And I could be in the middle of a conversation or setting something up, so I wouldn't be able to turn around and say, you mind leaving them off? But I would very purposely go back over and turn the lights off. It's like, we don't need them. You're in that environment for the majority of your day. Let's spend an hour in natural light as much as possible. So it's honoring how that is. And for some people, that could have been the change and transformation that they're not used to. It's like they're used to being in that environment. They're creating that comfort when it really isn't something we need. We want that cocoon or cave-like essence when we're going into work like this. So we're in May as well, which is wonderful. And we're going through this transformation, this change, and it really, really happens. And I feel this is really, really huge because it's eclipse season and we're in eclipse season in the sign of Taurus and in the sign of Scorpio. And one of my astrology teachers, she would always say, like, if you were going to see a show, like going to see a play, going to the theatre, eclipses are when the curtain closes and they're completely changing the scenery. So when you come back, it's a new act, it's a completely new scene. So it's that huge change, that transformation. You're being taken on this journey from where it started when the curtain first lifted, and now the curtain's closed again, and there's all these things going on. And sometimes you could see people moving around because obviously stages aren't very deep, and you can see what's going on, what props are they bringing out, and that's really what eclipses are bringing in. Plus, we're also going through Mercury retrograde, and I love Mercury retrograde. And yes, I do joke. And, it's that, oh no, it's Mercury retrograde, stuff's going to happen. But Mercury retrograde is going to happen. It happens 3 or 4 times a year. If you don't know Mercury retrograde is going to happen, once you start getting into your astrology, or if you ever do, it's such a common thing that it is just joked about these days. But we can't point fingers at this is happening. So I have to just it's out of my control. It's honoring that this is going on and it's a time to slow down. and review things. If we think about the RE, retrograde, review, reflect, and refocus. And this is really key when we're going through times of change and transformation. And when we're going through times of change and transformation, we can still thrive during these times by understanding our needs. What do we need? And the most of the time, change and transformation is really difficult because it feels like your needs aren't being met during that time, or not through a meaning or a way that you've chosen that feels good for you. So I'm going to go through, this is something that I have been hearing about a lot from my mentors through what I'm learning and studying as a coach, both as a wellbeing coach and in my business. And I always like to share that with you here on the podcast. And I find it really, really interesting. So we have the basic human needs. So you may have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And this is based on that. And there are actually 6 human needs that we need to know that these are being met in order for us to feel secure, to feel safe, to feel happy, to be able to move through change with ease. And if you don't know what they are, I'm going to dive into them now. So if you have a look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it's just a basic model. It's pyramid. We start with our roots. If you were looking at this with, say, the chakra or chakra system, we start with the roots and then we move up through to the crown chakra. And it's very much the same or very similar. So you have your very basic needs. So, if you're looking at the means to have these met, they're, air to breathe, water to drink, food to eat, shelter, you've got a roof over your head, you've got somewhere comfortable to sleep, you've got clothing, and very, 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 very basic needs. And then we move up to like safety needs. So our security, it could be with resources. When we first had all the lockdowns, how many people were hoarding things like toilet paper, for goodness sake. It's knowing these resources are there. Otherwise, we start to panic. It's knowing that we have safety is in our health. We're feeling well, we're feeling good, that we have money coming in, we have employment, or we have work coming in if we're self-employed or run our own businesses. Then it moves up to love and belonging and connection. So this is where it comes in with friendships and intimacy, family, a sense of connection, a sense of belonging. And then we move into esteem. This is where we have our self-esteem, respect, our status, recognition. This is where strength and freedom comes in as well. And the last one in Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization, a desire to become the most that one can be. And then when we look at the actual 6 basic needs, we can see where these tie in. So you've got love and connection, and those are connected together, variety, growth, significance, certainty, and contribution. So you've got love and connection, variety, growth, significant, certainty, and contribution. And every one of us, myself, you, anyone else that you know, we all have these basic needs. However, the way that we fulfill them is very different for everyone, unless you find someone that you're like 2 peas in a pod sort of thing. And there are 4 of these needs that contradict each other. So you've got love and connection, so that we're all the same. Like I've just said, we all have these same needs, but then we want that significance as well, that we have that recognition. So if you look at that hierarchy, it's that it's kind of that part of that self-esteem, a little bit of self-actualization as well. We want that respect, we want that status. So we're like, yes, we're all in this together, but so-and-so's really good at this. That, if you need help with this, that's who you would go to. And that's how that person stands out. So we're all one, we're all connected, we all love each other. But We also have that respect, that status as well, which is that significance. Then we have variety. And then on the other side of that, we have certainty. So we want to make sure that we have that stability there. But we also, ironically, within these needs, because we're talking about change and transformation, we also want to welcome in variety. We want that even balance. So some people love variety and that's how they thrive. They don't thrive of certainty. So some people don't thrive so much on routines, whereas some people really live in routine and variety scares them. So when that change comes in, that can be when if you feel there's too much variety, it can feel overwhelming or stressful. That's where having a set routine really, 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 really helps. And it can help you to be focused and it takes that overwhelm out of it. And then the other two, growth and contribution, are more the spiritual needs. They create fulfillment. And that's where like the last one, that self-actualization that comes through, where we can be something to other people. We can continue to learn and expand. And again, how you do that can be very different. So some people will grow through learning. They can't stop going to they're doing different things at college or school, whether they continue, say, with night college or additional classes, or they're learning online and doing all these additional courses. And you might be downloading apps where you can learn some things. So again, big thing that I saw in my circle at the very least were people going on Duolingo and they were like, I'm at home and I can't do much or get out as much. So I'm going to learn how to speak another language, which is amazing. But then other people might actually want to go, well, I want to go out and I want to be around the people that speak that language to learn how to speak that language. So they're still doing the same thing. There's still that growth and that learning, but someone will prefer that certainty of, I'm going to go into this app and I know what I'm going to choose to learn. Whereas someone will want that growth and variety because they want to be around the people who are native in that language. And they don't know what the conversation is going to be. So they could try to strike up a conversation and then they may be very fluent and flow through that conversation very easily. Or they might have to try and pick it up as they go along, or they might have to say, sorry, I'm learning, bear with me, and go through the book they've picked up to help learn it. So there are different ways that you can meet these needs. And they can be really simple. So they could be through food, they could be through your career, it could be through family. But ideally, we want to make sure that we have at least a variety of different means to meet these needs. Because if it's only on one, that's when change happens and it's really not through your choice, that the rug can really feel like it's pulled out from underneath you. And I very much was aware of this as an eye-opener when everything started to shift a few years ago with lockdown. My needs were very much met through my business and very much solely through my business. That when I didn't have the choice, it was that choice was taken away from me of how I got these needs through my business, because my business wasn't able to run in the way it had been for 7+ years, very much set in my way with it. It was like, oh, okay, what do I need to do? And I had to do a little bit of soul searching to see how I changed it. And what was really eye-opening with this is it's called, you can look at this as I've set up my business to get here and set these needs for me in my life. And that's a blueprint I've created. But now my lifestyle has changed. The blueprint and my lifestyle do no longer meet. And ironically, to make sure that we feel certain, that we feel content, that we're not feeling stuck or frustrated, something has to shift. And if you don't have any control over the lifestyle, if you don't have the choice in how you can change your lifestyle, like using lockdown as an example, then how can you shift your blueprint? And that's why I then took like 90% of my business is now online. I've gone from brick and mortar running a yoga studio to teaching in a online membership like setup. So I had to shift that blueprint. And it's really honoring that for you. So if you're feeling, you know that you're going through change or transformation, you can feel that coming up and you feel happy with it, amazing. But still do reflect on this. If you are feeling stuck or you're frustrated or you're low or you're just really not sure like how your needs are being met, do you even know what your needs are? Like how, do go through these needs, that love, connection, significance, variety, certainty, growth, contribution. How are your needs met through those 6 needs? What are the means that you use? Is it food? Is it career? Is it family? Is it study? What do you thrive in that you feel that your needs are met? And if you know the love languages, you might know that they're met through those ways as well. Different people have different ways of their needs being met. But if you are feeling stuck or frustrated, then what's your current blueprint in life? What are you setting that path for? What are you creating for yourself? And does your current lifestyle match the same run for that blueprint? So do get your journal out and have a little reflection on that. What are you creating for yourself? What is it that you're wanting to create? So this can really come down to what goals are you setting for yourself? What are you wanting to create in your life? Does your lifestyle match this? Even if it's not matching it, is it online? Are you on the same trajectory as that blueprint? And then if you're feeling frustrated or stuck, then those needs aren't being met. The blueprint may need to shift, or your circumstances, your lifestyle may need to shift. And if you're not sure of your needs, then this is really something that we can go through one-on-one in a coaching session, because it's so powerful to have this overview from someone else like myself to help guide you through this. So if you are feeling stuck, do ask for help. There's so much power in asking for help with this. And this is something I know really hugely from experience. I was like, I can do it myself. I will get through it. And then it feels overwhelming because it's like, I don't have that time to do it, or I'm being interrupted because it might not look like I'm doing anything significant because I might be researching something online. So I'm just on the computer. Whereas if you're actually in that appointment with someone, you committed with someone else to do something for yourself, that is very, very empowering. So do have a look at booking in a coaching session. It could be a one-off, which is 90 minutes, an hour and a half. And we can really go deep into this. And then once you've had one coaching session with me, you then get access to book in with a lovely container. And that could be with 3 months of coaching with me or 6 months of coaching with me. That's every single week for an hour. Every single week you get more of my availability. So I do restrict my availability for like initial assessments or initial sessions. But as soon as you've booked in with me and you are ready to go into that container, if that's something that you need, some people the 90 minutes is enough and you're happy to carry on. But because you've already had one session, you could come back to me and go, actually, I think I would like to dive into this a little bit deeper. Then you could still get access to my calendar when you're ready to book in for that. So really do have a little look into that. And also, just before we wrap up this week's episode, I am doing a little special on my self-care bundle. So if you're wanting to create some certainty with a morning routine, I have put together some of my best practices from my Rise and Shine Wellbeing membership, which I'm actually shifting now. So I'm no longer running that as a membership, or I'm putting a pause on that. I'm going to be offering something new very soon. So I will be announcing that soon on the podcast and on my Instagram. But for now, I've got a self-care bundle, and it's 24 practices. Each practice is just 15 minutes. So you can just pick one practice. You've got the choice of a yoga practice, or you could do a meditation practice or a journaling practice. And because here in the UK, we've got a double bank holiday weekend, this weekend is our second one, I'm doing a 50%, 50% half price with the code SHINE50. So all that information will be in the show notes. And I hope you enjoy. If you're in the UK and you're getting that bank holiday weekend, or if you're in another country and you're also getting an extra long weekend because the coronation this weekend, Do let me know if you're listening to this and anything has like really opened your mind and any takeaways. Share it on socials, especially if you're on Instagram. Share it on your story or share it on your feed and tag me at @IamRachel_UK. All those information is in the show notes. But until next week, have a little reflect on how are you meeting those needs? And then that journal prompt is what's the blueprint you've created for your life? Does your current lifestyle match that right now? And if not, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling frustrated, which one can you shift to help you feel those needs be met?